Hey YouTubers, Nightwing19 here with my review for episode 21 of The Flash, Grodd Lives. So as always, I'm going to start the recap, give you my thoughts on the episode, and write down to my top 5 moments. So starting with the recap, Barry scours the city looking for Eddie but must take a break to stop a robbery at the Gold Reserve. When Barry confronts the would-be thief, they are both disoriented by an unknown psychological attack. Back at the lab, Barry describes the attack to Caitlin and Cisco when Iris walks in confronting Barry about being the Flash. The thief attacks again, but Barry is able to stop him. The thief turns out to be General Eiling, whose mind was being controlled by the gorilla Grodd. With a lead from Iris, Barry, Joe, and Cisco head into the sewers to look for Grodd. The trio realize that Grodd is getting smarter and larger, and during an attack, Barry is knocked unconscious while Joe is kidnapped by Grodd. Cisco and Caitlin build Barry a device that will prevent Grodd from attacking him psychically. It works, but Grodd is too powerful, and during the fight, the device is damaged. Barry is able to fight off Grodd's psychic attack and tricks him into jumping in front of an oncoming train. Elsewhere, Wells works on a device that will allow him to return to his own time. So overall, I am giving this episode a 9. This was like a really big episode for Grodd, who makes his more formal appearance on the show. In the series premiere, he served more of an Easter egg the producers never really intended on doing Gorilla Grodd. However, in episode 5, we get to see him in a flashback before he becomes the menacing telepathic gorilla that he is in this episode. Then he's teased twice in the second half of the season and gets his own episode in the last few episodes of the season. He mainly served as a distraction to Team Flash. Wells needed the team off his trail so that he can continue building whatever it was that he was building. It seems as though that he reactivated the particle accelerator. I don't think he reactivated it so that he can create new metahumans. I don't know what his plans are exactly. He did say that the device he was building was like his ticket home, so obviously Wells is going to use it to get back to the future. How he's going to do that with the particle accelerator, I have no idea. Some way, somehow, he still needs Barry's speed. I think that's going to be a factor in his plan to return home, so we'll see that play out in next week's episode. And, just on a side note, who else noticed how crazy looking Wells looked in this episode? Remember how he looked in the beginning of the season with the glasses and a really calm look? Now he looks really crazy with his hair, very wild looking, and his eyelids, they kind of look like he's wearing eyeliner or something. It's probably due to the lighting of the scenes that he was in, but still, he looks pretty crazy throughout this entire episode. Iris confronts Barry about being the Flash in this episode. This was actually a good episode for Iris and for Candice Patton, the actor who plays Iris. She was on fire in this episode. I explained this a little bit in my episode 20 review, that if the show wants us to believe that Iris is going to be a reporter, then she's going to have to figure out stuff on her own. Even if Iris wasn't going to be a reporter, it just adds strength to a character when they're able to discover big secrets, like the fact that your best friend is this superhero. Now that she knows that Barry's the Flash, I think she's going to be a part of Team Flash. You have Barry, Caitlin, Cisco, and Joe. They're Team Flash, the core members of Team Flash. And then you have allies like Eddie, Martin Stein, and Ronnie. Iris is going to be a part of Team Flash. She's not going to be an ally to them. You even get to see her serve her role as a part of Team Flash when she provided information on where Grodd was located. So Iris's role will be to provide information on new metahumans. She'll use her reporter skills to do that, and she'll bring that information to Team Flash so that they can take down that metahuman. Besides from Iris learning Barry's the Flash, she and Barry sort of addressed the romantic feelings for one another. Mostly Iris did this. She did say that she's been thinking about Barry, but she can't exactly do that because she's with Eddie, so we're kind of moving towards rough territory between these two characters. They have a mutual interest in one another, so we're probably going to see them start pursuing one another in the second season. We'll probably get some closure on where they're heading in the second season. We'll get to know where the relationship ends in season 1 and where it's going to go on in season 2. I do think that Barry and Iris will be a thing in the next season. But because they might be a thing in the next season, that will mean that Eddie might become a villain. At least that's what I think. Eddie does learn that Iris marries Barry in the future, so that will most definitely push him to become either Zoom or Cobalt Blue. Eobard Thawne kind of started the spark for Eddie to become an enemy of Barry. He told him that he was a failure in the Thawne family. He said that everyone in the Thawne lineage were politicians, scientists, geniuses, captains of industry. However, Eddie just turned out to be a cop out of all of the Thawnes. Eobard is most likely taunting Eddie to do something better with his life. He's we have all these successful people in our family, and then there's you who's just a detective. Like, all of that was probably just ways to motivate him to not be a failure and to lead him to his inevitable turn to become either Zoom or Cobalt Blue, whichever one of those. So I didn't find many Easter eggs in this episode. The obvious one is Grodd, but I've talked about him a lot in my previous videos. Cisco made a reference to Planet of the Apes, Jurassic Park, and King Kong. Funny enough, by the end of the episode, Grodd is seen climbing a tall tower and jumping off of it, so they kind of mirrored the classic King Kong moment. I just feel like the writers couldn't really pass up on an opportunity to reference a scene from King Kong, considering that they have a gorilla on the show. So, now to top 5 moments, starting with number 5, Iris admits to having feelings for Barry. Number 4, Iris confronts Barry as the Flash. I do have to say that the way that Iris just waltzes in on Team Flash is just so amazing. You have to take into consideration that Star Labs has some pretty bad security. Like, that's just something that the producers want us to think off screen. Number 3, Eddie learns that Iris marries Barry in the future. Number 2, Barry vs. Grodd. The special effects for Grodd were amazing. They weren't the best, but they were pretty decent. Like, I was a bit skeptical about bringing Grodd on the show, considering that he would have to be all CGI, but I'm not that skeptical anymore after seeing Grodd full on in this episode. The special effects on the show do seem like they're improving a lot, so I'm really looking forward to see what else they can do. I especially love how they brought back the supersonic punch. And my number 1 moment, Eobard Thawne reactivates the particle accelerator. So here's my question for you guys. What are your thoughts on this episode, and what are your predictions for the last 2 episodes of the season? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and subscribe to catch my episode 22 and episode 23 reviews. Subscribe to my other channel, Jedi Knight 450. I have some fandom vids there. And follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr for updates on The Flash, Arrow, and more. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.